Hello everyone and welcome to our training update video. So this is a video where I will show you Furguson's progress now that we've had him for a while. He's come a long way in all sorts of different areas of training, and I'm going to compile that all together in this video. First I'm showing you him playing in the snow the other day. It was very cute. But first we'll get into potty training. So this is what he does when he needs to go to the bathroom. We taught him early on to ring the bells on the door handle, which is super handy because now it doesn't matter if we're in a different room. We're not like needing to keep an eye on him to see if he's sitting by the door or something like that, but we can hear the bells, and so that is super helpful. And the next nice change is that we don't put him on a leash anymore when we take him potty. He does really well at not running off. He really doesn't like to be far from us at all, and so it didn't take long for us to realize that we can just let him off and he goes potty and he comes right back when he's called. He does really, really well. And he thankfully goes to the bathroom very quickly. He doesn't linger around outside and take forever or anything like that. I think he's finally gonna go poop. Yep, okay, we don't need to watch that. So then I can call him inside. He comes right in.
Good boy.
He comes right over to us. And we let him inside. And then we have him go sit in his crate for his treat. And believe it or not, we actually started out his potty training trying to do litter box style because that's how he did it at the breeders. It did not go well. So we started taking him outside and he adapted to that super quickly. So honestly, it's a lot easier and cleaner this way. So I'm glad that it worked out. But yep, he does his great sit when he comes inside after going potty. And then we're all good to go. So now we're going to get into his obedience. He definitely has some new commands now. Of course, there's sit. He's mastered that one very well. And then there's down. He still needs a lure for that, but we are working on not luring that one. And then back to sit. Now heel. So this is a new one. It's still a work in progress. He still needs lured almost the entire time. But I have been practicing pulling my hand away, kind of like that, so that he has to walk next to me without having the lure right in his face. And he's been doing really well. I think he is catching on. We try to turn in both directions. So I try to turn into him, and then we also turn out the wide way so that he learns to stay on that same side no matter which way I go. There we go. Still needs a lure sometimes. He has a tendency to just kind of hold still and watch me instead of moving. And then right there, he had a little hair on his face, so I was helping him get that off. And then here's his going in his crate command. I don't really care if he sits or lays down or anything. I just care that he stays till he's released. So there we go. There's a release out of the crate. Come back into a sit. Another down. I'm at least trying to move my lure farther and farther from him when I ask him to do a down, until hopefully it can be just a hand signal that I can just do while I'm standing. That would be ideal. Going back in the crate. Good boy. Coming out. There we go. Another good sit. Now we'll go back into heel. Here's a little clip of his training when he was little. We've come such a long way from there, and he's grown so much too. I think he's like basically about 10 pounds in that video, but he's 23 pounds now. So he's grown so much. Alright, I think now I'm about to move into, oh, not yet, still doing down. Alright, now moving to touch. I'm super excited for touch to be nailed down super well. He does really well with it already, but I want to get to the point where he's quicker about it and really, really understands, because then I can start using it. Didn't touch. There we go. Then I can start using it to get him to do things like a second ago. I held it in the air and got him to jump for it. I also want to use it to get him to weave between my legs, and then I can also use it to probably get him to like pray and put his head between his paws and all sorts of stuff if he knows to just touch my hand. So I'm excited to keep working with that command. I think now I'm going to work on some duration. So he gets rewarded for staying, and if I take a step back, we're kind of just starting to stay, so he doesn't have it down super solidly yet, but he is good at holding whatever position I've put him in until I tell him to do something else. So that's a good thing. And then there's the cum. Back in the crate. Back out. There, okay, see that lure was further away, so that was really good. And there, okay, so this is an interesting tip. If you, hi Betty, he's right here with me. Hi. If you're training your dog, if you film yourself, I have caught on to the fact that when he's in a down, and then I tell him to sit, I take a step into him, and I didn't even realize I did that. But I noticed that he kind of is confused and waits for me to step into him before going into the sit, and so that's something I'm going to work on, is not taking the step into him. He was getting a little confused with touch here. There we go. So I might have been transitioning to trying to get him to jump a little too soon. There we go. And so now we're just working on some more repetition, because truly the more frequently you repeat it, the quicker they get it. There we go. See, I stepped into him and he sat. So I think I was kind of catching on to that at this point, and so this next time I don't take that step, and he takes a little longer to figure it out, but he does figure it out, so I don't think it'll be too hard to wean out that bad habit of mine. And then we go back in the crate. Good boy. And come back out. I think he's kind of catching on and doing some auto sits whenever he comes, which I kind of like. Ooh, didn't touch. There we go. I wait for the actual contact with my hand before he gets a reward. Now I was kind of noticing here that he was staring at my hand with the treat, so that's why I was putting it behind my back. And he also was staring at the treat bowl sometimes, so I might have to start reinforcing the eye contact with me over the, not reinforce staring at the food bowl. There's some more heel. He's doing good. Taking a few steps without a lure. That's really good. Hopefully by the next video update I make like this, he won't need a lure at all to heal. And then that one, he's going to get a good jackpot of rewards because he sat while staying next to me as opposed to coming in front of me and sitting, which he sometimes does. He sat while he was in the heels, so that was really good. And then now, training is all over, so I dumped that kibble into his whole food bowl, and we're going to give him his food. So I make him, again, go in his crate and sit, and then I set his food and water. It's all in, like, one stand right there, and he has to wait until I give him okay. And then he can go eat. Munch, 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 munch. He's a very good boy. And the next thing we're moving into is his touch desensitization. So thankfully, his temperament as a puppy was always very tolerant, and he wasn't overly sensitive in any particular area of his body. So this is just something that we tried to kind of maintain with him, was him continually being comfortable with touch. So I can wipe his eyes, I can put my fingers all up in his mouth and lift his lips and look at his teeth, and he doesn't have any issue with that. I can put my fingers in his ears, wiggle him around, do all sorts of things, and he really doesn't care. He's he likes rough tumble type play too, so he's just not a touch sensitive dog, which is really nice. He does a fantastic job at the vet with no complaining, no screeching, no bad reaction. So I'm very proud of him for that. He's such a big boy. He's not a tiny puppy anymore. He can have his muzzle held, can touch his nose, all sorts of things that he just like doesn't care. Same with his paws. Ever since he was teeny tiny, I've tried to encourage him to let me just put my fingers between all his toes and in his paw pads, and I'll like grab and wiggle his little nails to kind of feel like the nail clippers, grasping onto them, that kind of thing. And he does have a tendency to want to like chew on my hand or lick my hand while I'm doing that, which I don't care about too much. As long as he's tolerating me touching him, then we'll work on the mouthing later. And then after all his training, he's all zonked out. So yeah, that is the update on his training and how far he's come in the few months that we've had him. He's 4 months old now, coming up on 4.5, so he's a growing boy. He's probably about half the size it'll be when he's full grown, which is crazy because he's a mini Aussie, but honestly I think he's gonna almost be big enough to be just a small standard because doing with the calculations I've done, it seems like he's gonna be between 40 and 50 pounds as opposed to 30 and 40 pounds like we were told. So if that's the case, he's not really that mini, which is fine with me. I like a larger dog. So yep, here's another little video of him playing in the snow. Just in the space between our cabins. This is where we're playing. I'm glad he likes the snow, because living in Alaska, this is going to be his life most of the time. He just doesn't even care, even if it's all over his face. Just jumps and yips and plays. So happy. It's very cute. We were in the middle of trying to get all the snow off our truck, so I was just letting him play and get some energy out, because we were about to take him on a drive, and so it helps if he's a little more tired. But yeah, that's our training update, so I hope you all enjoyed. We'll see you next time.